The Empire of Maka has existed for nearly 1,000 years. Founded and ruled by Aoibhen the Main, the immortal empress, it quickly expanded its borders thanks to the overwhelming power of its mages and the shrewd politics of its nobles. Now it has fully conquered the centre of the continent of Elmera, and although war has ended, peace still eludes its populace. As the empire nears its first millennia, the signs of turmoil have become more frequent and apparent. Monsters are becoming more bold, nobles plot schemes of usurpation, and whispers of rebellion hang heavy in the slums. This gave rise to the adventurer. These strong individuals of all races and classes lend their might to the citizens of Maka to drive back monstrous incursions. There are even adventurers who perform deeds so noble that the people can see beyond their race to the hero that lies within. There are those who criticise these adventurers and claim they're nothing more than pawns used to advance the political machinations of nobles. Despite the immortal Empress herself making fewer and fewer appearances, there are those whose faith in the Empire remains unshaken, but the wise know that it only takes a few sparks to ignite the flames of change. Allow me to introduce you to these sparks. Welcome to Elmera.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dice Age, a real play D&D podcast. My name is Jack, and I am the GM, and I will be the host for the evening, along with my co-hosts, the players. Would you all be so kind as to introduce yourselves and your characters?
Hi, I'm AJ, and I am playing Edgar Wood, the half-elf blood hunter.
I am Alice Rose, and I am playing T, the elven sorceress.
I am Mitchell, and I am playing Esarayas, the human rogue.
I am Zach, and I'll be playing Tauros, the tiefling paladin.
Hello, I am Trey, and I will be playing the drow fighter Oberon Claudius II.
All right, and then before we get started with today's episode, does anyone have a recap they'd like to give?
All right, Jack. I know last time I kind of screwed up with the whole gnome tube thing with Slavo. I know he didn't say a lot of nice things, but I think I fixed it this time. All right?
Okay.
I do have some good news and some bad news.
Well, let's get the good news first.
I hired an actual journalist to follow the group and share the story.
Well, that's good. I mean, considering what happened last session, it might not be great for everyone, but still, we're actually going to get some decent reporting, though.
Okay, so my bad news might not be fully bad news then. He didn't get to the right news station. We could just play it.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to see what happened.
Welcome to Elmera Tonight. Here's your host, Foxy Wazens.
Hello, darlings, and welcome to tonight's Elmeratainment Tonight, where we look at what's hot, what's hideous, and what's downright spicy in the world of Elmera. With me, as always, are my two co-hosts, Bard Extraordinaire, Stefan Tyler.
Happy to be here, Foxy.
And, of course, Crusher of the House of Death Mountain.
Crusher happy too.
Excellent. And we have a special guest as well, this random journalist guy.
Hi. I'm Dr. Harold Artemis, head journalist.
No one cares, but please tell us this hot goss you've got for us.
If you mean the story I was reporting on, well, I was meant to deliver it to an actual news station, but your scary dwarf friend kind of grabbed me on the way.
Crusher thought Glasses Man had hot goss. If Glasses Man does not have hot goss, Crusher will not be happy.
Oh, well, we can't have that. I was following a group of adventurers who were doing a job in Ella Creek when they went to go deal with a goblin problem in Fort Durgan.
Goblins? You mean like little monster things? That is spicy.
I guess so. They finished off all the guards and arrived at the final room that wasn't filled with treasure, but instead a bunch of civilian goblins.
Oh, how terrible. I bet the outfits were just atrocious.
I mean, sure. But then their protector, Seamus Clark III,
You mean 3-time runner-up for the sexiest alcoholic adventurer? I think we're aware.
but Seamus ordered them to murder all the civilians, and Edgar, the goth one, got really mad at that and transformed into a skeleton. I think he might be an Osori, the monstrous race that we're all supposed to have been wiped out.
Well, I'm oh sorry you had to see that. I bet it was not a sexy look.
That wasn't the problem. It was more the fact that an Aoibhen Academy adventurer might be a terrible monster.
Person wants to know when drama starts.
How is this not traumatic to you? Okay, well fine. After a very dramatic standoff where the skeleton defended the goblins, Oberon the elf from House Claudius attacked Seamus, and the recent grads started to attack their teacher.
Ooh, now it's getting spicy. What was Oberon wearing?
He was wearing armor, you know, the kind you use when fighting to the death. But then they pinned Seamus to the ground, and he can't get any offense in, when all of a sudden, Mara Deldrex, the Furbolg Druid instructor of Aoibhen Academy,
Our reigning sexiest Mother Nature cosplayer?
whatever, she tells the kids to kill Seamus because he wants to kill civilian goblins. Then she proceeds to cast heat metal on his armor.
Ooh, that sounds hot.
From the screaming, I can assure you it was. Then, with the help of the other adventurers, Essa and T, the Tiefling Tauros then looked Seamus right in the eyes and dealt the killing blow. I mean, being a Tiefling, we can't be surprised.
She was there? Glasses man, tell us what he was wearing.
Are you all not understanding the gravity of the situation?
Gravity. Is that a new clothing line?
Listen, something is going on with those kids and their instructor, Deldrex. I think they're going to meet with a noblewoman, Chloe Ward, and Deldrex might sign their license despite all the criminal activity.
Ooh, Chloe Ward. The 6th hottest Chloe in all of Maka.
Shut up! We all need to tell the world about this. The Empire needs to...
Glasses man, not spicy, and have not gossip. Pressure deal with him. Sorry, Foxy and Stefan.
That's okay, Crusher. We'll just make sure this boring story doesn't get aired. That's all for Elmeratainment tonight. Stay sexy, Elmera.
Elmeratainment Tonight was filmed in front of no one. If anyone has any actual important news, this is definitely not the show to share it on. Elmeratainment Tonight is brought to you by Madame Chevreuse. Come fulfill your every desire.
All right. Well, that was a pretty good recap, despite the interruptions that the reporter had.
Sweet, hey, we might need to talk about finances because he kind of cost us our rainy day fund.
What do you mean?
But that's fine.
Did
All of it.
So did Crusher actually crush him?
Yeah.
All right, we can talk about that later. All right, well, now that that's all taken care of, I guess it's time to get back into the game. We find our heroes back in the outskirts of Fort Durgan, in near the village of Ella Creek. You all have been through a pretty trying experience. However, I believe you all had decided to go back to the village, rest up, and talk to each other about whether or not you would meet with Mara the next day. Mara did help provide payment for lodging in the village. So I guess we'll just cut to the next day with you all in the common room. who do we think is going to be in that common room first?
He's a late sleeper.
I feel like Oberon is definitely a rise with at the first crack of dawn, mainly to make sure that he gets Wound taken care of, fed for the day, make sure his armor is strapped on properly. So he probably gets up a good hour or two before he needs to. So you'd probably find him. He'd go like outside the common room, obviously, to like wherever Wound slept for the night. Get him, put his armor back on, make sure he's fed, and then just tell him to wait until they leave, and then he'd probably just go to the common room and sit down, hands crossed in front of him, and just begin thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Horse is also an early waker. He'd probably be pretty early. He wouldn't leave his room though for a while, especially if he like looked outside and saw no one else was there. He would not want to be alone out there, so he would wait until he kind of like, saw a little more movement, a little more activity, and he'd probably toss on his armor, kind of spruce it up a little bit, clean it off, clean off his sword for a good like half an hour, and once he kind of noticed Oberon out there, he would go out there too.
I feel like Essa is not early as not Toros or Oberon, but definitely still early enough. The kind of years he spent training at the academy's probably kind of conditioned him to get up really pretty early. So imagine he'd be like the third person in that room.
Edgar didn't sleep that well at all last night. He's typically a late riser anyway, but even when he does finally get up, it takes him a long time to have the courage to like open the door and go to see other people.
So just before he gets up, T does the like twirl into the common room kind of thing with like the I just killed my husband kind of bathrobe on over her clothes with like the big feather boa. You have no idea where she was keeping this.
Right.
But she's got it.
Well, of course. All right, so you all have found yourselves in the common room of the inn. You all haven't committed to meeting with Mara yet, so what's the plan?
First, Oberon's gonna like look around. Is there anybody in the common room besides us?
Ella Creek doesn't usually get a whole lot of travelers, or at least not a whole lot outside of like regular trading caravans. So you guys are kind of the only ones here. There's like the tavern owner who's kind of just keeping to themselves, but other than that, it's just you guys.
Question. Has the news broke of Seamus's death at this point, at least within Ella Creek?
No.
I know we haven't told anyone, but has Mara mentioned it?
As far as you know, no one else knows. No one's talked about a dead elf would be a big thing circulating.
We know by this point.
We would know by this point. Good. Yeah, just want to be sure.
Oberon's still kind of just like got his hands in front of his face, kind of like head down a little bit. And then he's just gonna... What do we do?
I think we've been given a pretty excellent out, if you could call it that.
I have to agree with T on this one. I think Mara's our only out for this without serious punishment for at least a few of us.
Serious punishment for all of us.
Taurus is just kind of looking at his hands.
You have to, and Oberon's eyes are quickly going to dart over to the like innkeeper. How much attention does it look like he's paying to this conversation?
He's like, he's mostly, he's scribbling in some kind of a notebook, maybe his ledger or something like that. It seems like he's present, but you don't get the vibe that he's listening in or anything.
Okay. We have been given an out, but at the same time we can't. We have to think, if we take this out, there's no going back from it.
There's no going back from yesterday, my friend.
I think the way back was shut, and we all decided to attack our teacher.
We sealed our fates yesterday. And this is, I think, the best course of action for us.
Just kind of like follows Taurus's example, kind of just like looks down.
Edgar, what do you think?
Edgar has been like completely out of it the entire conversation. He just snaps back in. I honestly don't know what to think at all about anything right now. But if Deldrex wanted to fuck us, she could have screwed us over the moment she got in there. She's in this as deep as we are. And she's one of the few people at the academy who's actually decent. We can't go back without a proctor. And I gotta go back home. I gotta talk to my mom, so I'm gonna talk to Deldrex. That's all I know.
And talking to her doesn't mean selling our souls to her. It just means talking.
Just going to nod, but not say anything else.
Alright. As you all are sort of kind of having this realization that you don't really have much of a choice, Mara will walk in from her room, see you all seated there, and she'll walk on over. She sits down in front of you all. She's a little oversized for the chair that she's sitting on. Her knees are kind of banging up on the bottom of the table. And she says, good morning. I know you all probably didn't get the best rest last night, but I hope you did get some. Have you all come to a decision on whether or not you'd be interested in working with me and with the Lady Ward?
I think we've come to the conclusion that we'd like to hear you out further.
Understandable. Yeah, so I don't know how many of you have personally dealt with the issues that are currently plaguing our empire. But I think it's safe to say that you all were confronted with an example of those issues last night. The attitude that the Empire has towards so-called monsters is just one example of the many things that Lady Ward is hoping to correct. She believes, as do I, that change must occur if our empire is to continue. That things going as they are now, it won't lead to good ends for anyone. But most especially people who have been unfairly treated for so long by this empire. She has been looking for adventurers who would be sympathetic to her wishes. That's why I am working with her, and I hope that you all would be interested in working with her as well, given that you all seem to have decided you don't agree with the current way that the Empire does things.
So, you knew you were going to approach us at some point on this exam, correct?
I followed you all. Well, I followed you, she says, gesturing towards Edgar and Oberon, as a favor to a friend. That I happened to intervene when I did, and that I'm extending this offer now, is honestly mostly coincidental.
Can I insight her on this?
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
And while he's rolling that, I want to insight the group to see if the vibes are leaning towards her.
That was to you, Jack, but you got it, right?
Yeah.
It was a 21.
Yeah.
Dirty 20 on my group insight check for y'all.
A solid 4?
Mm-hmm.
That's a strong 4, though. That's a
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a hot 4.
So
it's like
a 4.5.
Mm-hmm. Edgar, you cannot sense if there are any ulterior motives. Not necessarily like you're getting bad vibes. It's just you're not picking up on anything. Oberon, you remember. So she says that she was doing a favor for a friend. You think back and you think, well, who do you know that was an adventurer who would have been involved with someone who's had to, who has been accomplished enough to become a teacher at the Aoibhen Academy, despite not being an elf or one of the more higher regarded peoples, and would also know someone who wants you to be safe. You and Edgar to be safe.
And what do I pick up on when she said, like, me intervening when I did was completely coincidence?
There's definitely like a kind of... She may have been a little more opportunistic than she's letting on, but it definitely seems like her plan wasn't directly to get involved necessarily. As far as T, your sort of group vibe check for Mara, that's something that each individual person's going to have to tell you how the kind of vibes they're giving off. With a 20, I'd say you get a pretty good read on people's initial thoughts or like surface level opinion of her.
All right, Schmucks, what does a dirty 20 get me for your vibes? A general thumbs up, thumbs down. But, auditorially so that it registers for the podcast.
For Essa, you get the sense that, well, he's not like all for it, but definitely looking at him if you had looked at when it was mentioned that change is needed, there was a very slight nod from him. Seems like he's going for it.
Okay.
When Oberon up to this point, I kind of like been looking at her, like not nodding, but kind of like just like listening intently. After her last sentence, though, you see his hands, which had like been clenched on his knees, like begin to get white knuckled a bit, and he kind of like just like takes a deep breath, but you can see like his hands shaking on his knees a little bit. You get the sense that he's not too comfortable at the moment, and starting to borderline on what feels like potentially anger.
Taurus looked up when she walked into the room and then looked back down. And you saw him kind of just like focusing on his hands. But once she started really getting to the meat of it, you saw him really kind of like looking over his hands and kind of like examining his armor. And you start to get the vibe that it's moreover he doesn't want to listen to what she's saying. Like it's almost like he's trying to block it out and just kind of ignore it in his brain as she's talking, but you can tell he's still listening.
Okay.
It's a very close vibe to what you just got from Oberon, but in a different scale of like, instead of like him portraying a little more like uncomfortable, like kind of like tension, it's more uncomfortable, scared.
Interesting.
Edgar seemed like really into it at first, but as soon as the conversation turned to monsters, he had a moment where he looked over towards Tauros and then had a quick moment of realization about himself and just looks completely lost by the end of the conversation. Like he's looking somewhere, but he's not looking.
Okay. Thanks, Schmucks.
Mm-hmm. And then Mara will say, so I will go ahead and promise you that no one will know the truth of what happened last night. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. But I don't mean to... I don't enjoy saying this, but I need... My work needs assistance, and I don't know that I can guarantee that I will be able to grant your licenses unless you can promise that you will at least assist me with one adventure.
Just one.
Just one. I just want to show you that Lady Ward is someone you can trust to actually try to make things better. But I understand if you have other commitments, other things you want to do with your license. But I hope that after completing that adventure, you will see that helping her will be the thing that helps everyone.
Are we allowed to know anything about the job before we take it? Other than we'll be do-gooders?
I am not at liberty to say without my lady's permission.
Secrets. All right, gentlemen. She looks to the men flanking her. If anyone really doesn't want to do this, say something now.
Edgar shakes himself in and looks at Oberon. Doesn't say anything, but is looking at him.
Oberon has this look on his face, like he's looking at her, but at the same time, he's looking past her, and you kind of see what T saw. You see the hands on the knees, shaking at this point. But
do we maybe need a moment to discuss this in private?
A moment, and Oberon's just going to stand up out of his chair, and he goes and begins walking up to his room.
Just one moment, and I will herd my sheep up the stairs.
Yeah, Mara won't stop you.
I'd say once you, Oberon storms up the stairs, I'd say once you get about over halfway up, right outside the door, Jack, I'd like to take, if there's a chair in my room, and hurl it as hard as I can at the wall.
Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah. I guess we'll do an improvised thrown weapon.
Okay, that'd just be strength plus...
It'd just be strength and proficiency.
That's a 24.
Oh
Oh
God!
my goodness gracious!
Yeah, you just
Okay.
you all are walking up the stairs, and then you hear a very loud as Oberon's like very kind of you know not ramshackle, but definitely not the highest quality chair just shatters against the wall of his room.
Yeah, at this point, Oberon's like just heaving and like not of actual exertion, but more of like just simmering emotion.
If anyone looks back down at the stairs towards the innkeeper, he would have like his head would have jutted up, and then Mara would have like very awkwardly like walked over and handed him 2 gold pieces.
T will just poke her head out the door and be like, "Oh, fine, misunderstanding."
Yeah, so Oberon's just sitting there, like looks like he's fuming in the center of his room, back turned, like from throwing the chair as hard as he could. She knew. She knew that we would act. She knew that we would be put in a situation like this. Right, wrong. It could have ended anyway, but she waited. She waited till she knew that she had us trapped. Till she knew that she was our only option out of there. Now she promises us a free pass. As long as we do one simple thing. Shut our mouths and follow orders. And he'll turn around. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Somewhat, yes. But, and I will counter with this, she may have waited, she may have known, but truly this is, for all of us, as you said earlier, our only way out.
It's a way out that she made.
Do you need your license? Because I fucking need my license. And if we want to get our licenses, we have to do this.
He's just going.
Love her or hate her, this is our way out.
He still kind of like just shoulders shake for a minute before he just. And he'll just look up. Doesn't say a word, but just begins gathering like the wood from the chair that he splintered.
I'm gonna look over to Tauros.
He is.
What stage of panic attack is he in now?
He has reached up and he's actually started running his hand along one of his horns, which is something you've seen him do when he's very anxious, and that's all he's been doing.
I'm gonna go over next to him and like whisper to him. How can I help?
I don't know.
Are you okay with this?
And I don't think it would have been different any other way. I'd be taking orders from someone.
Are you okay?
I think this way I'm gonna survive, so easier than normal. I just don't know what she's gonna make us do. And that's what scares me.
Little nod, and then she'll go back to facing the public.
Once he gets everything like cleaned up as much as he can, he's going to take the remains of the wood and just kind of like stuff them in his bag, thinking spare firewood. But
S, are you in?
Well, If I don't go, I am dead, so yes.
Edgar?
Yeah, I think we're all kind of in the same boat here.
Oberon, dare I ask?
After he finishes everything, just for one reason or another. And his eyes will kind of like dart over to Edgar for a split second before going back to you. We all made our choices.
All right, deal settled then. And she'll strut down the stairs.
Mm-hmm. There, you'll see, like, Mara, like, very kind of awkwardly sipping out of a, like, cup of tea that's still just a little too small for her hands.
Oberon will throw a gold piece onto the counter.
Mm-hmm.
I legit thought you were going to say, I'm going to throw one of the pieces of wood at her.
As Oberon leaves his room, Toros will kind of like hang behind, and he'll just put a hand on Oberon's shoulder, and just kind of look at him very sympathetically, and just let it fall. Then he'll walk down the stairs.
Oberon, like, while you have the hand on his shoulder, he'll just look over at you, but he will nod, and then kind of like just continue forward.
Yeah.
Just have a little bro moment together.
Yeah.
Little bro moment.
Toros gives him a nod back as they keep going.
T is full on showgirl smile. Fantastic news. We'd love to accept.
Mara smiles and she says, "That's great. I guess we will head on back to Aoibhen then."
Question. What's our alibi? What's the story we're telling about Seamus?
Oh, yeah, I came up with that. So, Seamus, unfortunately, he, did what he does, and he imbibed too much during this mission, and in an attempt to, show you all, the way to properly deal with a goblin raider, he accidentally bit his tongue while casting his spell, causing him not to be able to pronounce the words correctly, and unfortunately was unable to procure his magic shield in time before a goblin's scimitar impaled him through the chest.
A real tearjerker, that one.
Indeed, I'm sure the Academy will come up with a suitably more heroic end for him to have met.
Of course.
Unless any of you
Shall
have
we?
business left in Ella Creek, I believe we should get going.
No.
Ready to go.
All right. You all begin to leave Ella Creek. And you all make your way back to Aoibhen. The journey back is a bit long and a little awkward, but you eventually find yourselves reaching the capital city. And once there, Mara takes you all back to the academy where you see some other students have returned from their own adventures. Mara asks you all to wait while she goes to one of the administration members of the academy. She, you all have to wait a few hours. Eventually, she comes back with the properly filled out forms, and she signs all of your licenses. You are now fully licensed adventurers, having graduated properly from the Aoibhen Adventuring Academy.
Happy graduation day, boys, as she links arms with two of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oberon feels as if the license weighs like more than he does.
Mm-hmm.
Like when it's put in his hand.
Mara tells you all, now I'm sure, it's been a few days. You all probably want to get back to your families. How about we all just meet together tomorrow, and I'll let you know the details of the mission then. You can meet me at the Dragon Skull Inn tomorrow at noon.
All right.
All right.
Do we know where that is?
Yeah, so the Dragon Skull Inn is, you've definitely heard of it in your time at the Academy. It's a pretty famous adventurers hub. Lots of parties that have had a successful adventure go there to spend their gold. And then lots of fledgling adventurers will also go there hoping to find work that would be posted on like bulletins within the tavern itself. It's probably the most well-known adventurers tavern. Not the most prestigious, but most novice to mid-successful adventurers and adventuring parties have kind of made it their base. So until tomorrow, you all have time to go back to your loving families that you all have.
Yay. Oh, wait.
They're dead. Oberon will turn to everybody and just tomorrow and begin making his way off with Gloom.
All right. Who would we like to follow first?
Let's start off with a bang, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Exciting.
Sorry, is that you volunteering, Trey? Sorry.
Yeah, that's
okay.
me.
For a second, I was like, "Is that what you're saying?" Or okay, no, it is. Okay.
No, yeah, that is exactly
right. So it's close to about mid-afternoon when you all leave the academy with your new licenses. Oberon, you head towards the wealthy part of the city where your family's mansion is. You get up to the gate. The guards recognize you, of course, let you in. And as you're walking in, one of the servants comes out to greet you, welcomes you home, and lets you know that your father is in his study along with Castor, and that Annie is in the backyard reading and studying as well.
understood. I go to the backyard first.
Okay. You head into the backyard. It's a lovely garden with a gazebo. This is also a place you remember spending time with Castor, training when you were younger, as well as a close friend of yours on certain occasions as well. However, right now, in the gazebo, you see your sister. She's reading through some sort of manuscript, and it seems that she's kind of really invested in it, so she hasn't noticed you quite yet.
Mm-hmm. Just going to continue walking forward. Just Annie.
Her head will shoot up. She'll see you and just big wide grin. Runs up, gives you a hug, and says, "Oberon," and like hugs you and says, "Oh, you're home. That's great. I'm glad you're back and you're safe." And of course, Woon gives a happy bark standing next to you, and she says, "And of course, I'm happy you're back too, Woon," as she like ruffles his mane.
Mm-hmm. Oberon looks like he wants to, like, he goes to return the hug, but at the last second he kind of like just like stops, and then the arms like go limp at the side, but like one hand does come up and like give like a gentle pat on the back. I missed you too. Yes, here. And he'll go to his pocket and he'll pull out his license and show her.
Yeah, her eyes go wide, and she's like, "That's awesome! You got it! You're an adventurer now, like Castor and Dad."
That's right. I can finally follow in their footsteps.
And she just smiles and is just like, "That's great. How was it? How was your adventure? What happened?"
Can I roll a deception check to see how well I can keep my face in this moment?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm gonna assume, like, with a pretty good, like, not like a stone face, but like definitely like puts on a bit of like the noble mask for a bit, like when talking to like Fields. Oh, it was perfectly fine. There were few issues, some goblins, obviously, but we managed to make it out just fine. Edgar was there with me. So,
yeah, her brow kind of like raises, and she's like, "Oh, Edgar was with you. That how did that go? Are you guys okay?"
it went fine. We treated it like adventurers. We put aside what differences we had for the good of the mission.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So do you maybe think you're going to be friends with him again?
I don't know any. That's not really my call at this point.
She kind of like nods, realizes she's made you uncomfortable, and then goes, "Oh, well, I had something exciting happen too."
And it's at this point Oberon's mind flashes back. Oh. Did it have to do with grandfather?
Yeah, because remember, Dad was taking me to see him, and I got to meet him and show him some of the stuff that I've been learning, and he says that I'm really powerful and that I'm really talented, and that he wants to become my mentor. So I'm going to learn magic from grandfather. Isn't that wonderful?
Oberon's very quickly, like, if she's far enough away, he's just going to, like, kind of, like, step a little bit closer to where she can't quite see his face, so she can't see how pale he has rapidly gotten. Yes, that's wonderful to hear, and as Oberon's, like, hand is, like, shaking a little bit at this point, but he, like, quickly, like, puts it on Wound to, like, hide it.
Mm-hmm. Give me another deception check to see if you can hide this reaction. Okay, well, a 5, there is the possibility that she still rolls pretty crappy with her insight.
One.
You will not believe me, but she did get a nat 1.
Hey!
You do successfully lie to your sister. Good job.
I got a lot of real life practice with that. But no.
But yeah, no, she doesn't pick up on your apprehension, and she says,
Yeah.
"It is. I'm so excited that he'll be able to, teach me even more that I can do. I can't wait to see how I can be helpful for the family."
Me as well. If you don't mind, I have to go speak with Father. I'll leave Woon with you. Father hates fur in his study.
Right. Come on, Woon, and then she'll she'll hop on Woon's back and have him start prancing around the garden with her on him.
Gotcha. Yeah. Seeing that and knowing that Woon's with her, he's going to begin going towards his father's study.
Okay. You walk towards your father's study. As you are approaching, what is remind me your passive perception?
14.
14? Okay. As you're approaching, you notice no guards in front of the study doors, which would be weird, but the caster's probably with him, so it would be redundant at that point. The guards might even just get in the way.
Yeah.
But as you're approaching the doors to the study, just before you begin knocking, you hear hushed tones from within. It's a little hard to make them out.
Can I give a perception check?
Absolutely. $20. Very nice. So it's still a little muffled because they are seemingly on the other side, on the far side of the study from the door, but you do make out some hushed tones of I can't go against him, but she's your daughter. I will do what I can.
Upon hearing that, are there any plants or anything nearby? Any vase or plant, anything of that nature?
Yeah, there's just down the hall, just in front of a window in the hall, there is a vase with a rose in it.
Understood. Before going in there, Oberon goes to the vase and promptly loses his dinner in it.
Okay.
Just shocks what feel like go through his body as he just hurls into this vase, and then he'll wipe his hand across his mouth, and if he sees a servant, he'll just usher them over and just something I didn't agree with me. I figured it was better here than on the floor.
The servant will nod and take the vase to clean it.
And then he'll go to his study, or go to his father's study.
The tones behind the door suddenly stop. Then after a few moments, you hear the heavy armored footfalls of what you can assume to be Caster as he approaches, opens the door, sees you, and there's a bit of shock on his face, but then it quickly changes to one of relief. He'll say, Master Oberon, welcome back home. And then he'll look to your father and say, "Sir, your son has returned. With good news, I'm assuming."
Yes, of course.
You look and see your father sitting behind his desk, several papers strewn about, and he says, "Oh, well, welcome back, Oberon. I'm glad to see that you were able to complete your mission."
Yes. And he'll reach in and pull out his license again. Yes, it all went went a little off the rails, but we accomplished our mission.
Well, yes, adventuring hardly ever goes as planned, but I'm proud of you. This is an amazing accomplishment.
Overall, thumbs up for like the first time in days.
Mhm.
Thank you. Well, I went to go see Annie, and she informed me about her lessons.
When you say that, like, you notice your father stiffen up a bit. And you hear Caster behind you similarly kind of startle. And your father then goes, "Yes, your grandfather sees a lot of promise in her."
Well, it was, I guess, good that he saw it in one of us.
Your father looks like he's about to say something and then kind of bites his tongue and he says, Your grandfather's a difficult man, but he does what is best for the family." You hear Caster kind of snort behind you, and then your father kind of shoots him a look.
I'm just thinking that she's young. She's not. I was at least a few years older when my trial. Maybe I could. You don't know. I've trained very hard in recent years. Maybe I would be able to take her place.
At that, like, your father just, like, kind of just, his face kind of falls. He looks at you and he says, I know what you mean. And I truly understand how you feel. I made my own request of a similar vein, but your grandfather is committed to his decision.
She's just so young. She's not ready.
He's not going to. He's not planned on anything for a while now. He will be training her. She will be ready when the time comes, but and I will promise to do whatever I can to convince him otherwise until then, but and like his words will fail him.
I see.
I
Well, Father, should you need me, Caster, after my mission, I think I was a bit rusty. I think I could use a warm up, a training session.
Caster will look to you, and then look to your father, and your father will just silently nod and gesture for Caster to go with you. And Caster will follow you out of the study, closing the door behind you.
As we're walking to the training center, just without even looking at Caster, I want you to beat me down till I can't even move. I need to get better.
I understand. I will do everything I can to impart with you the experience that I've had, but I think you've already learned that training can only do so much, and experience is the true teacher.
Oberon's just going to nod and train until his body physically can't move. And Castor probably beats him down.
Yeah. Castor is like going. When you were training as a child, obviously Castor would hold back, but with recent events, Castor is going as close to full strength as he can without actually hurting you. And as you are resting between bouts, Castor will say, things... I know it's going to be very hard. But unless things change, there's not much your father can really do.
Oberon won't respond, but he'll definitely put it that way.
Mm-hmm. And then you'll continue training, I assume, until until your body probably starts to give out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right.
Oberon will spend the rest of his day.
All right. So fun times at the Claudius estate.
Sorry that took a little while, guys.
Wahoo!
Don't worry. I'm sure no one
worries.
else in this group is going to have a long, difficult conversation with a family member.
Yeah, come on.
Oh no, how dare you have interesting character progression.
Well, considering like 3 of the 5 people in here don't have parents.
How dare you
Okay,
insult
ow.
Mama Chevra that way? How dare.
I wasn't talking about you, I was talking about Edgar.
Elda's such a sweet woman.
Have a mom.
Edgar's got a mom. At least Edgar has a mom. Where's yours, Oberon? Oh, right. She's dead.
At least I have half of a father.
And it's Castor, because I don't care about my dad.
Hey, listen. Everyone calls Madame Chevra mommy, so that counts. as
That's
something.
so true.
True.
All
Even
right.
he does it, and it's like, no, I don't like this.
Who's next?
Come on, pussies.
We can go over to the Giggle Pit.
No, I can go there.
All right.
Or
So was
equivalent.
that Alice or Tauros?
What? Go ahead, Alice. Go ahead.
Sure.
All right. Was that what you meant by Giggle Pit, Alice?
That is what I meant by
Okay.
Giggle Pit.
All right. Okay. Well, okay. So now we are going to follow T, going back to Madame Chevra's. So T, you are walking back towards the market district. There, it's a part of the city you know very well. You come to Madame Chevra's, and you open the door, and it's like a brief pause before everyone in the room recognizes you and like cheers and shouts, and like your entire Chevra family is like swarming towards you.
She
all, like-
strikes a pose with the license in her hand, just so flaunting it. I did it, bitches kind of energy.
Absolutely.
Hello, friend.
Everyone's going
I'm
wild.
home.
Everyone's freaking out. There's a few people that are like, in Avatar: The Last Airbender, when he goes to Kyoshi Island and there's the guy that starts freaking out and foaming at the mouth. It's like that. Just everyone's having a great time, and of course, Madame Chevre comes charging through, practically knocking people out of the way as she just runs in and swoops you up in like this big, ribs-crushing bear hug.
Oh, big hug right back.
Oh, yeah. And it's a good time. Like, there's tears. Of course, Madame Chevre immediately announces that everyone is going to be drinking and celebrating. Camilla's there, and she is like she cries one tear, but like quickly wipes
Single
it away.
manly tear.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like
Cammy gets a big hug around the neck, like straight up. What was in Princess and the Frog, the best friend of the main character, Disney's Princess and the Frog?
I can't remember.
You know, the blonde girl who thinks that she's a princess?
I know who you're talking about. I do not remember her name, though.
No idea. But yeah, that kind of like throwing herself around Cammy's shoulders is very cute.
Oh, yeah. It's good time. There's drinking. There's like some of the regular patrons are like chanting your name as well. Like there are some people there that don't really know what's going on, but they're down for a party.
Wait, they're all chanting juicy.
Yes.
So that's the chant going on in the room.
Yep.
Instead of tea.
Yeah. And overall, the best reception you could have possibly hoped for.
Yeah, absolutely.
As things start to die down, like you are hanging out with Cammy, like, you know, Madame Chevre has told you, like, obviously you don't need to work anymore, like, or I mean, not anymore, but you don't need to work today. Like a lot of people, like Chevre's giving people days off, the rest of the day off, so that they can properly celebrate and welcome you back. And then after giving you some time, Madame Chevre is actually going to ask you to meet with her in her office.
Yeah, I'll gladly go.
Yeah, so you meet with Madame Chevre. Her office is on the ground floor. It is like just outside of the regular bar and meeting area, so that she's able to, you know, be ready if she's needed outside. But as she welcomes you in, you notice that she kind of taps a sort of amulet-looking thing that's hanging on her doors, and suddenly you can't really hear the noises from outside the office that well. It's some kind of like sound barrier or something. And she's going to sit down across from you at her desk. She's going to offer you some of her own personal brandy if you'd like to drink.
Oh, she absolutely brought a girly drink from the bar.
Okay. And then she'll just say, I'm so proud of you, sweetheart. You've done an amazing thing, and you have the freedom you've always wanted to achieve, and I'm just so happy for you right now. And she starts crying again.
T's gonna start tearing up and go, it's all because of you, Mama J.
And then she's just gonna wipe her tears. And as she's doing that, she'll also start coughing a bit. She'll
You all right there?
Oh, well, that's part of why I want to talk with you right now.
What's wrong?
She's looking a little uncomfortable, and she says...
T's gonna, like, hold her hands.
She's gonna, like, pat your hands back and say, I have been coming down with something lately. Something...
Well, we'll find you a cleric.
Right, I've been to a cleric, and it is something that is being rather stubborn and obstinate and refusing to cooperate with treatment. And unfortunately, I am not able to afford the donations necessary for the higher level treatment that can be sought in this city. And if I'm being perfectly honest, the kind of money that would go towards that is better spent on my children here.
What are you saying?
There may come a time where someone else will have to take care of this place.
Why? No.
I don't mean to tell you this on a day that should be so happy for you right now, but I am telling you this because of the people I am considering who should take my place, you are among them.
I wish I could say that I was flattered, because I am. It's an honor. It would be an honor to even be considered, but not at a cost like that.
Don't worry, dear. I'm not planning on leaving anytime soon, keep in mind. I
Good.
still have time left, but unless I'm suddenly flush with gold, I think I need to start worrying about getting my affairs in order.
Well, you just don't worry about a thing. I'm going to be taking care of you. And you don't have to worry.
Dear, you don't need to do that.
This license has changed a lot. And I now know what I'm going to do with it.
My dear, this license is for your freedom. You don't need to use it to...
My freedom has some amazing side effects, such as being in an incredibly lucrative field. You don't worry, Mama. We are going to get you fixed up perfectly. You're going to see the highest level cleric in all of Aoibhen.
She'll smile, and again, tears are starting to form, and then she'll just say, "Oh, what did I do to deserve such a wonderful daughter?"
You were such a wonderful mama.
And
big bear hug,
big
sobbing.
sobbing tears as she embraces you back, and it's just, and then after taking a moment
Emotional feminism.
for you both of you to have your emotions, honor them, respect them, and then
therapy.
End the embrace, and then she'll wipe her face and say, "Right, well, what are we doing hiding away in this dingy office? We should be out there and enjoying your successes tonight. That is, you are the star of this night, and I will not have you hidden away for the rest of our celebration."
Oh, Mama. Let's go have fun.
And she will join you back out in the tavern, and you will, I assume, party for the rest of the night.
Oh, yeah. You sick son of a bitch. You're killing my fake mom. How dare you?
Listen.
Elmera cancer.
Okay. Did I give Madame Chevre lung cancer without explicitly saying she has lung cancer? Yes. Did I take the sweet mother figure that is the one thing that kept T from becoming an emotional wreck for her entire life, and dangle her, put a sword of Damocles over her on whether or not T will be able to continue having a happy life. Maybe. But it's for the drama.
That's so true. It has an extra bitch, I live for it.
Mm-hmm. Listen, T's life is a soap opera, so there has to be a horrible disease as a part of it. All right. Who wants to take over next?
I guess. Lord Percival is the guy who did this to me, right?
Yes. His name being
Percival Octavius Richmond III.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So, leaving the academy. Hey, Essa, you are technically a free man now. So
First thing he's gonna do is walk past one of the guards who would like patrol his room when he first when he was a student. Not because he doesn't want to do it in front of them because he would get arrested again. He's just gonna behind kind of underneath like his robe or something, kind of into his jacket, kind of flip them off.
Right.
There's I get some
amount of rebellion going on.
Yeah.
Some amount of catharsis.
Yeah.
You eventually find your little sort of halfway home, or not halfway home, but safe house that you have in the city that's been provided by your patron.
Yep.
And with hidden in a corner of the room, you see a letter. Opening the letter, you see that it has written on it, "Once you have the license, come see me." And it, with no signatory, you still know who it is. So,
Fuck.
Yeah. You wait until nightfall, and then make your way over to the aristocratic sector of the city.
Yeah, just darting around every guard, anybody who would attempt to stop me, moving around them in the widest berth, finding every alley I can get across. If I have to go on the roofs, I will go on the roofs just to avoid anything.
Yeah, give me a good old stealth check.
Got a nat 1, this bitch. That would you just fall off the roof. Blah, blah.
A 10?
10. Not better. That's a 2.
Not great,
close.
But even though you do manage to cause a bit of a disturbance on occasion, knocking over some cans and things like that, you do manage to get over to your meeting location with the Lord Richmond. They're standing sort of in one of the alleyways of this district. You find the Lord cloaked in the darkness, and he stands waiting for you and says, "Yes, I'd heard you had come back to the city. It's a good thing you found me. If you hadn't, I, of course, would have sent someone after you."
Would not be the first time, my lord.
Of course. But I take it from your appearance here that you were successful in achieving your license.
Pull it out. Yes, sir.
Good. That frees you up to do a lot more work for me.
It does.
Yes, so now that you are an official adventurer under my employ, I have a true mission for you, my good sir. Have you heard of an elven woman who was also in your graduating class? woman who goes by the name of T.
Can I roll deception to the stone face? Not give any emotion that I recognize that name.
Go for it.
Fuck.
Okay,
11.
and 11's not great.
Spill that tea.
Yeah. So there's a moment. I guess if he spots it, there's just that kind of flash in his eyes of recognition of the name, and he goes, "I've seen her around the school. Yes."
So he rolled a nat 20.
Fuck.
So
Well,
he
goodbye, guys.
he kind of he just smirks and says, "I think you may be a little more acquainted with her than you're telling me at the moment, my friend. I'd like to remind you that I prefer our conversations not have any deception within them."
She is part of my, I guess say, group. Yes, she was with me for my graduation mission.
Now that's interesting. But I digress. You see, I have taken an interest in that young woman. And I've been pursuing her for a time now, and unfortunately she's been rather insistent upon rejecting my advances. What I need is a little information. Something I can know so that I'm able to better show her that I'm the man she should be wed to. And I think you being friends with her will put you in a very good position to find that information, won't it?
That is will, sir.
Wonderful. So we understand your mission is to find whatever secrets or history or past of this woman that you can, so that I can use it to convince her that she shouldn't reject me anymore. Do we have an understanding, thief?
Your will is my command, sir. I will see it done.
Good boy. Return to me when you have this information.
Jack, no. Don't fucking do that again.
I would just like to say you.
Thank you.
Listen, I gotta be in character.
Don't you hate him? I came up with them myself.
Thank you.
God, I really hope that tea person gets out of this all right, whoever that is.
Oh, fuck. Okay, the moment he leaves, I'm gonna scurry back up to the roofs. And I'm gonna try to find like a dark area of a roof, like somewhere where just like there's no light shining, kind of like in the complete darkness. I'm going to try to reach out to the spirits again to see what the fuck I should do.
Okay, so you get up on the roof and you are attempting to communicate with these spirits that have been kind of in contact with you, and you hear, after some time and constant. Actually, give me a Let me see. What would be the right skill for this?
Religion?
I was thinking religion would be the right way to do it.
Okay. Well, boy. 22.
Hey, 22. Okay, so you attempt this communication with the spirits, and after a moment you feel the temperature around you begin to chill, and your breathing become a little more labored as a pale, ghostly-looking elven woman appears before you, and she says, "He's looking for another."
How do I stop him?
You need to take away his power. If he does not have control over the city, he will not be able to do anything.
I'm one man. What can I use against him?
You are one man, but he has enemies aside from you. If you can ally yourself with them, they may be able to assist in his downfall. Seek ward, and then the spirit will dissipate.
Say that again. You cut off
sorry,
me when you
ward.
said ward. That's helpful. Okay. He's gonna very shakily, I imagine it took a lot out of him to summon up the spirit he talked to. So he's like shakily pushing himself up, and he's gonna start making his way to like the inn or wherever he has some kind of sleeping arrangements, and clocking out.
Sure thing. All right, we've got 2 left. Who wants to be the super fun next boy?
Oh boy, I'm so excited for fun.
Sounds like Tauros is volunteering. Then.
Oh boy, I'm so excited for the fun and happy time I'm about to have. Oh boy.
All right.
Tauros is just like, "Sir, for the last time, this isn't an Elmera McDonald's. This is the police station."
Tauros, you make your way to the Temple District after receiving your adventurer's license. On your way there, you get your usual glances and looks as you walk in your kind of rough-looking but still, respectable armor, until you eventually find yourself at the station for the Order of Midir. And you walk in and find your mentor, who immediately walks over to you, still full regalia, doesn't, act any... still acts within the manner that a knight and paladin is meant to represent themselves in, but she does give a big smile when she sees you, claps a hand on your shoulder, and says, "Good to see you're doing all right."
Good to see you too, Miss Loomis. It's been a long couple days.
That it has. My shift is almost over. I could meet you back in my room if you want to catch up.
I would like that.
She smiles and says, "That's great. I'll see you soon." She'll head back to her post. After a few minutes of waiting, she does come back to her room where you are, and she takes off her helmet, sits down, and says, "So, I take it you were able to get your license?"
You see, he's trying to hold a smile because he doesn't want her to worry about anything, even specifically. And he pulls it out and he's holds it sheepishly with 2 hands, like, I did it. It was not easy, but I did it.
She's just smiling again, and she says, "Well, that's wonderful, Tauros. I'm so happy for you. This is a great first step in achieving your in becoming a paladin. This is wonderful. Give me an insight check, or not insight, sorry, a deception check to see if you can prevent
Hide.
yourself from showing how potentially conflicting you're feeling. So
You
an
was a
8.
good one.
So an 8. I'm not sure you'll be able to beat her insight check.
Mhm.
Zach, push the 8 over so it's an infinity.
Infinity.
Taurus just is always crying. That's why she can't tell that he's upset.
He's very bad at hiding his emotions. I'd even get. I'd let you get. I'd let you give her advantage against this fucking shit.
Well, on the first die roll, she rolled a 10 before adding anything, so
Huh.
so she's looking at your license, she's smiling, and then handing it back to you, she notices your smile kind of waver a bit, and she says, "So the adventure was a little more challenging than you were expecting."
He just kind of nods, and he opens his mouth to say something, and he just kind of continues to nod. Just, yeah.
And she
Yeah.
says, "I don't expect you to tell me all the details, because, I don't want you to feel like you have to spill anything to me if it's something especially challenging, but I'm your mentor, Tauros. Anything you tell me is safe, and I promise you I'm here for you no matter what it is."
He is really having a tough time even keeping eye contact with her, as he's kind of running a hand along his gauntlet. Just, Miss Loomis, have you ever done something really bad, and it's just in your chest, and it feels like it's just sitting there and it won't go?
She'll look a little conflicted, and you'll notice that her hand has started to raise back up to her ear. She stops herself, though, and she says, "Yeah, I've definitely had my fair share of mistakes that have weighed on me. Did something bad happen during the adventure?"
He can't really even stop himself from kind of lightly nodding, but he doesn't really say much else. He just kind of lightly nods. I feel conflicted about stuff, and I don't know what to do about it, because I feel like if I do something about it, it'll make it worse, especially for the people I was with, and I don't want to do that.
So, did someone end up getting hurt during all this?
A lot of us ended up getting hurt.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is part of this kind of a job. We don't really have the luxury of careers that don't involve pain and suffering. So I understand what you mean. This is a very challenging situation to be put in.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you had the chance to help someone, even though you felt though as it was wrong, would you?
If the way I see it, helping someone who can't help themselves is always more important than anything else. If I didn't believe that, I don't know that I could have found the courage and strength to take care of you and to be the person that I am. The Order of Madeira isn't perfect. Don't tell the Knight Commander I said that, but it's the closest thing to protection for a lot of people. And if we can do our best to keep people safe, that's the whole point of joining this order.
Her words actually like lighten him a little bit. Like she sees him kind of visibly relax with some of his words, as like she kind of like speaks through all this, and he kind of like she can easily tell he's still very anxious, but like he's kind of stopped, kind of fidgeting with his like gauntlet. He's kind of like looking at her more. Okay, I like that answer more.
I'm glad. And if you ever do need to talk about what happened, I'm here. I promise you, no matter what happened, I'm still going to do what I can to keep you safe.
I'd like to tell you what happened one of these days, but I think for now I'd just like to rest.
Absolutely. You've got a lot of work to do now. You still have to start making a name for yourself before you can apply to the order.
I will do my best, I promise.
I look forward to it. Have a good rest.
Thank you, Miss Loomis. And he kind of gives like a little bow and then heads out.
Yeah, and she'll bow along with you. All right.
Cool.
Nice. We had a moment that was actually a little touching, a little nice.
How was the homeless kid the only wholesome one?
the only
I'm right fucking here, honestly.
like I mean yeah, but his mom didn't get cancer, so
That's true.
That's so
Yeah.
true.
yeah.
She
Jackson
will.
has a little
Cancer mom,
timer
second
for
cancer
every
mom.
single mom character.
Sorry, what was
All
that? Zach?
mom.
You just have a cancer timer for every mom character.
AJ, be on the lookout.
AJ, Edgar gets back home, and on the sign it says, "Sorry, your mom's dead from leukemia."
Whew.
So this is the episode where the podcast gets canceled.
Yeah.
Good to know.
The Cancer Cast.
Hell yes, I love that episode.
We made it to 5, I think.
Ooh, new name for the podcast. Cancel cast.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right.
That sounds like a right-winger thing, though.
Just try and cancel us, libs.
Up yours, woke moralist. We'll
Yep.
see who cancels who.
Oh my god.
I was gonna take this episode.
All right. Well, now the most fun and wholesome and uplifting conversation with a parental figure.
We can skip it, right? Just like to go over the quick details and then that's it. No?
Yeah, no, we can just
No,
go over
suffer
we
like
just do
we
the
did.
Cliffs Notes version of it.
Yeah.
We can just retcon this. Come on.
All right. Edgar, you are walking home from the academy.
Edgar is taking the long road, the scenic route, as much as possible. And even when he gets there,
Mm-hmm.
he is just stuck at his front step
Right.
at the door, trying to figure out which emotion to go in on, because he's shuffling through a lot of them.
Right.
I think he gets into a mode where if he remembers everything that happened with the skeletal form coming up, and it's just a lot of anger. He's clenching his fist, and there's a little bit of that lightning that comes when he does his blood right, just like sparking out, and he can't help but like burst through the door.
Yeah, so you kind of slam the door open. Your mother, who's standing in the kitchen over a cauldron, like suddenly turns with like a flask of green liquid, like ready to go, but then recognizes you, drops it to the ground, and like rushes over and says, "Oh my God, you're safe. You're okay. Oh, thank goodness. What's wrong? Is everything all right?"
Anger just immediately melts, and Edgar feels like he's 5 years old again, and he just starts shivering in her grasp and getting smaller. You said you would never lie to me. You promised you would never lie to me.
What? No, baby. What happened? What happened? Tell me what happened. You're okay now. I'm here. I have you. What's it?
I'm not, Mom. And you're not either. You didn't tell me at any point that I'm not. Why did you? He just can't, like, get it out.
Mm-hmm. She's going to. Realization is going to kind of set in for her. And she is going to gently, but kind of firmly bring you inside, shut the door behind you, and take you over to your bed and sit you down. Get like a warm cup of broth, and sit across from you in a chair and say, I wanted to tell you, but I was hoping I would never have to, because I knew how painful it would be. And I can recognize that probably was some amount of selfishness on my part, and for that I am sorry. But are you safe? Does anyone know?
We're sent to go kill some goblins. We were just going, and they were just trying to live out in a fort that was abandoned, but we had to go and kill them. And I did it for a little while. But then there was just kids, Mom. It was just parents, old grand. I couldn't do it, but the fucking proctor said we had to. But I couldn't. And then it just came out. I thought I was going to turn into the stupid elf thing again when I do my blood right, but no, I just wanted to protect, and it came out.
She's going to like take your hand, and she's going to say, yeah, I understand, baby. It is something that really will manifest in times where you want to protect others. I guess it's finally time that I tell you what it's like to be in a Sori. So, I know you know what the Empire says about us, but I also know that you're a smart kid and that you never took everything the Empire said at face value, and from what you've told me about what you did, you used that judgment and that compassion in that moment to do the right thing. And we were a people who were attacked and destroyed for our differences, for our resources, and for our land. But we were never the violent monsters they ever told us that we were. Our strength comes from a desire to protect and save others. Our abilities, our ways of creating shields and weapons from our own bodies, it's a toll, but it's one that's done in extreme circumstances to keep the people we care about safe. My parents, when I was born, saw that I didn't have a lot of the features that usually stand out for a Sori. And they thought that maybe I'd be able to live in this empire and have a life outside, other than being on the run and facing that constant persecution. So I came here, I became an adventurer, and then I had you, and you were wonderful, and I had hoped that you would take more after your father, that somehow your Asori nature wouldn't manifest so that you would never have to live with that kind of fear.
What happened to your parents?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard from them since I became an adventurer. They told me that I shouldn't look for them, that they would put me in danger if I tried to be with them again. And even if I did try to find them, I'm not sure I'd be able to now.
So that's it then? We just live in the Empire lying, not letting anyone know what it is, or else we get killed immediately? What? Why? Why are we here? Why are we here when they hate you, hate me?
Let me take you someplace. And she's going to stand up and kind of guide you out of the house. Both of you will start walking towards the center of the city, where a massive white tree stands. This tree, from growing up in the city, it's a central landmark. Even though it's, a massive tree, it doesn't ever bear any fruit or leaves, and it's just pale white at the center of the city. The elves have always said that it's a blessing from their gods, proving that they are the ones meant to inherit this land. And as you are looking at the tree, she is going to sit down on the bench across from it and ask you, do you know what this tree is?
Yeah, it's they took us here every year. Field trips. This is the pride of the Empire, right?
And then she'll kind of smile and pat your hand and say, this tree is a holy site for our people. This is where one of our last great protectors gave his life so that so many of us could flee and live. This is the last form that he took as his entire body calcified and grew into something that could keep the elves and their magic at bay, while the many tribes and peoples of the Asori left this city, which was once a site of great holiness and spiritual importance to our people. Being in this city is something that so many Asori wish they could do. This city is built on land that has seen countless rites, rituals, festivals, ceremonies, all done by our people to honor and preserve our way of life. It was my parents' wishes that I get to live here, even if I don't get to be someone who gets to be proudly and openly the person who is meant to be here. There is still an Asori living in this city.
Why haven't they taken this down then? Why the lies?
They tried. They really, really tried. But there is a great magic sealed within that tree, sealed within the body of the person who gave their life for us. It's something that the elves have never been able to destroy, not with even their mightiest spells cast by the Empress herself. They tried, they made up their own story to justify its existence because they needed this place to be their capital. But to the Asori, and to myself, it's a symbol of hope. It's one last little rebellion, and that little bit of hope knowing that they have never been able to take it down.
Edgar just looks at the not tree and just like has a moment with everything that Mara Deldrex has said, everything that happened there. And he just like leans his head onto his mom's shoulder at that point. Says, Mom, what if I go do something really stupid now?
She'll kind of laugh a bit and pat your head that's resting on her shoulder, and she'll say, well, you wouldn't be much of an adventurer if you didn't do something stupid, would you?
I got to work with some really fucking weird people, Mom, on that first mission.
Yeah, she says. She kind of chuckles again. I know the feeling.
There was a human guy who I think was like imprisoned, like he didn't have a choice to do it. Weird powers there. A tiefling who's like in the Order of Madeira. Yeah, and then an elf woman sorcerer. She not much about her. Don't worry about that. And Oberon was there too, obviously. He's a fucking idiot. He's an idiot, Mom.
He is. Speaking of Oberon, there is something else you should know. Your father does know my secret. But he's kept it secret ever since he's learned. I want you to know so that you know who knows. But I trust, there are not a lot of things I trust him with. But I trust him to keep that secret. He doesn't know about you, though. I would never have told him anything about you.
Okay. Question. I'm guessing it'd be a bad thing if that happened in front of the wrong people. Again.
Yeah.
Help.
Yeah, I'll help teach you how to, teach you some tricks I learned to suppress it.
I was all bones for like a good 30 seconds, Mom.
Yeah, the first time's really rough, kid. It really is. Don't worry. We'll get you some milk, and I'll help teach you how to get some more control over it.
I hate milk.
I know you do, baby. I know you do, but we are going to have to get over that, because you're going to need a lot of it.
Gosh, it goes bones.
All
Gotta
right.
get that calcium intake.
And I think that is it for this episode of Dice Age, everybody.
You forgot where Edgar's
Yay!
mom's like, I've got cancer.
Bone cancer.
Oh.
Well, that's why I said she died of leukemia.
Oh my god. Imagine a fucking Osari having like osteoporosis.
Oh my gosh.
Oh god.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching our lovely, super uplifting episode of Dice Age. We will see you
Not
all...
traumatic at all. It's really casual.
No, definitely not. We will see you all on the next adventure.
Woo-hoo.
Boy.